Good morning. It is the Sunday morning service from the Rogues Tavern for December 2nd, 2018. Allahu Akbar. Good morning, good morning, good morning, and welcome to another Sunday morning service from the Rogues Tavern. Week by week, we try to improve this show up, and hopefully the sound is getting better and better, but, well, we got one fan out there who seems to show up every time the show goes live, but coming. Eventually, we'll just fill this hall full of people as we read the Bible and talk about some of its meanings. First off, though, we'll pick up where we left off and we'll read another paragraph or two from Jesus, a man for all time. And where we left off last time was Joseph's home may have been one in a cluster of little clay houses located a short way up the hill from modern Nazareth, not far south of the Roman military road and a little north of the caravan route carrying all trade between Damascus and Egypt. Such a house might have had one or two rooms, perhaps 9 by 12 feet, which served for cooking, eating, sleeping, living, storage, and another for Joseph's carpentry shop. Except for the story about his coming to the temple in Jerusalem when he was 12 years old, the only thing the Gospels tell us about Jesus' boyhood is that he grew and waxed strong in spirit, filled with wisdom, and the grace of God was upon him. We know that Mary and Joseph raised Jesus to be a good Jew, and as an infant he was circumcised and later presented to God at temple as the law required. And then at 12, Luke tells us he was brought to the temple at Passover time for the ritual of assuming Jewish manhood, his bar mitzvah. Even at this early age, he had begun to put his mission on earth before consideration for his parents. According to Luke's account, when Passover ended, Joseph and Mary left Jerusalem for home without Jesus. Thinking that he was traveling with other members of the family or with friends, but when they didn't find him after a day's journey, they turned back to Jerusalem. There they found him in the temple, talking with the rabbis, who were astounded by his sharp questions and clear understanding. When Mary told Jesus how they had worried about him, Jesus only replied, "How is it that ye sought me? Whilst ye not that I must be about my Father's business?" Okay, we'll leave it at that. So we're going to continue today's reading, starting at chapter 11 in the book of Genesis. So if you haven't heard the previous ones, go back to the previous recordings, go all the way back to the beginning and as we read the first few chapters of it. And something to let folks know, there'll be more recordings coming at odd times where I'll do random readings from the Bible. They'll be labeled a little differently. But we're going to continue the Sunday morning service every week, starting where we leave off every week for the Sunday morning service. So, beginning today in chapter 11, verse 1, book of Genesis, from the Holy Bible, Reference Edition, King James Version. Bible produced in 1972, presented to me in 1973 by my grandmother. So this is a decently old Bible. Lots of good stuff in it. Not been rewritten politically. Chapter 11, verse 1. And the whole earth was of one language and of one speech. And it came to pass, as they journeyed from the east, that they found a plain in the land of Shinar, and they dwelt there. And they said to one another, "Go to, let us make brick, and burn them thoroughly." And they had brick for stone, and slime had they for mortar. And they said, "Go to, let us build a city, and a tower, whose top may reach unto heaven, and let us make a name, lest we be scattered abroad upon the face of the whole earth." And the Lord came down to see the city and the tower, which the children of men had builded. Here we go again with that builded thing. The Bible was really big on builded. I guess, once upon a time, builded was pretty good. So we have a discussion here starting upon what everyone knows as the Tower of Babel, what they were doing. And there was a whole language of the earth at one point, according to the Bible. Although if we go back a few chapters when we recall that it said every tribe and family unto its own language. So it's kind of confusing there. And the Lord came down to see the city and the tower, which the children of men builded. And the Lord said, "Behold, the people is one. People is one, and they have all one language, and this they begin to do. And now nothing will be restrained from them, which they have imagined to do." So this is an interesting little piece here that says, anything they want to do, they can imagine to do, they can do. Humans are capable of so much good. And of course, as we know from our world today, humans are capable of so much evil at the same time. And I have to take a second break here. I will be right back. All right, let's pick that back up again. Always kind of tough sometimes, and there's always little things happening around you. All right. Joys of being live. Just let it go and roll with the flow. So now nothing can be restrained from them, which they have imagined to do. Go to, let us go down and there confound their language, that they may not understand one another's speech. Now here is another little key spot. Many people just sort of overlook it. was God schizophrenic, or was there multiple gods? Because it says here, go to, let us go down, and there confound their language, that they may not understand one another's speech. So let us. Who is us that is being referred to in here? You know, we can assume from the previous one that it's God. And the Lord said, which the Lord is always referred to as God, and behold, the people is one. And then the next one is, let us go down and confound their language. And then the next one singularizes again. So the Lord scattered them abroad from thence upon the face of the earth, and they left off to build the city. So the Lord came down, or the Lords, or us, the multiples, came down, scattered abroad scattered them abroad from thence upon the face of all the earth, and they left off to build the city. So in other words, he scattered them, stopped them in the middle of building it, and they just scattered from there. Therefore, the name of it called Babel, because the Lord did there confound the language of all the earth, and from thence did the Lord scatter them abroad upon the face of all the earth. So this is the story of Babel. And Babel, whatever you want to call it. We'll go with Babel. I like Babel. It's more fun. Babel is, These are the generations of Shem. So, okay, therefore is the name of it called Babel, because the Lord did therefore confound the language of all the earth, and from thence did the Lord scatter them abroad upon the face of all the earth. He did that, and then they just jump right to the next thing. These are the generations of Shem. Shem was 100 years old and begot Arphaxad 2 years after the flood. So we have a little short story in here. It's only partially complete as to what they do. You get the general gist of it. And then they go on to say, hey, that's enough of that. Let's talk about some more generational stuff. We'll talk about Shem's kids. Shem begat Arphaxad 2 years after the flood. And Shem lived after he begot Arphaxad 500 years and begat sons and daughters. So the only important one here is Arphaxad, because he begat sons and daughters for 500 years, or 600 years. He was 100 years old when Arphaxad was born, and he lived to be 500 years beyond that. And Arphaxad lived 530 years and begat Salah. And Arphaxad lived after he begat Salah 403 years and begat sons and daughters. So the only important one from Arphaxad here is Salah. This is always kind of interesting. The Bible goes, he begat sons and daughters and whatnot, and they only talk about the key ones, the ones that did big things. This is an interesting thing that I'm sort of revealing as I read through this, is that the Bible only talks about the sons and daughters, only names them by name if they did something big or important according to the Bible. Not just the average kids in the family tree. And then Salah lived 30 years and begot Eber. Well, Salah started having kids early, didn't he? And Salah lived after he begot Eber 403 years and begat sons and daughters. So Eber is the only next important person here from Salah, who of course comes down the line from Shem. So this is, 3 generations down from Shem now. And Eber lived 430 years. It couldn't have just said 34 years. It's like, you notice this really strange pattern in the way numbers. It's like sometimes it's by score, sometimes it's by 4 and 30, sometimes it's 34, sometimes it's 100. It's really kind of strange the way it was like a person like multiple people wrote each of these sentences because everyone has their own ways of presenting stuff. So, and Eber lived 430 years and begat Peleg. And Eber lived after he begat Peleg 430 years and begat sons and daughters. So Eber's next contribution is Peleg. And Peleg lived 30 years and begot Reu. And Peleg lived after he begot Reu for 209 years and begat sons and daughters. So we're seeing a pattern here. Okay, we're seeing a pattern here. They're having their kids young, then living a long time, having more kids, but only the first ones. Begat Reu lived 209 years and begat sons and daughters. And Reu lived 230 years and begat Serug. So he had his first kid at 32. And Reu lived after he begat Serug 207 years and begat sons and daughters. And Serug lived 30 years and begat Nahor. Nahor. That's anything like Ra-Nahor. Ra-Nahor. That's interesting. And if you don't know who Ra-Nahor is, you need to go dive into some other mythology. So, Nahor. And Serug lived after he begot Nahor 200 years and begat sons and daughters. Now, there's also another pattern here. They're living less and less time after they got their kids in their 30s. Not by much, but a few years. So we got a trending down line. Okay, and then Nahor lived 29 years and begot Terah. And Nahor lived after he begat Terah 119 years and begat sons and daughters. Lifespan was cut really down by 100 years. And Terah lived 70 years and he begot Abraham, Nahor, and Haran. Tehran had another Nahor, named one of his kids after his dad. He begot Abraham, not Abraham, Abram, Abram, Nahor, and Haran. Now these are the generations of Terah. Terah begot Abram, Nahor, and Haran. Haran got Lot. We all know who Lot is. Lot was mentioned. This could be a descendant, and just named Lot again. And Haran died before his father Terah in the land of his nativity in Ur and Chaldees. Chaldees. I recognize that from a movie. And Abram, and Nahor took them wives. The name of Abram's wife was Sarai. Abram, Sarai, and the name of Nahor's wife, Milcah, daughter of Haran, the father of Milcah, and the father of Iscah. But Sarai was barren, and she had no child. And Terah took Abram his son. And Terah took Abram his son, and Lot, son of Haran, his son's son, and Sarai, his daughter-in-law, his son Abram's wife. And they went forth with them to Ur of the Chaldees, to go into the land of Canaan. And they came unto Haran and dwelt there. Oh, this is where we're getting some really interesting stuff. Okay, that's what the Lot does come into play, but it's the same Lot. We all know the story of his wife. Well, most. All right. And the days of Terah were 205 years, and Terah died in Haran. So Terah died in Haran. In the days of Terah, Terah took Abraham his son. Terah. Okay, Terah lived 70 years and begot Abraham, Nahor, and Haran. Okay, Terah took his sons and Lot's son, Abraham his son, and Lot the son of Haran. Okay, so he didn't take Haran, he took Lot, Haran's son, and Sarai, who was Abraham's wife, daughter-in-law, his son Abraham's wife, and they went forth with them from Ur of the Chaldees to go into the land of Canaan, and there they came unto Haran. Okay, this is another land then. And dwelt there. That's where Terah died, 205 years later. Okay. Chapter 12. Now the Lord had said unto Abraham, Get thee out of thy country, and from thy kindred, and from thy father's house, unto a land I will shew. S-H-E-W, shew. Not show, shew. I will shew it to you. Shew you. I will shew thee. And I will make of thee a great nation, and I will bless thee, and make thy name great, and thou shalt be a blessing. And I will bless them that bless thee, and curse him that curseth thee. And in thee shall all families of the earth be blessed. So Abraham departed as the Lord had spoken unto him, and Lot went with him. And Abraham was 75 years old when he departed out of Haran. This is a 75-year-old man taking it out of Haran. And Abraham took Sarai, his wife. Now his wife, if he was 75, his wife must be kicking it right up there with him. Took Sarai, his wife, and Lot, his brother's son, and all their substance that they had gathered, and the souls they had gotten in Haran. All right, this one doesn't make any sense. Not yet. We'll try to make sense of this one. All right. Now they collected up all their stuff. Abraham took Sarai, his wife, and Lot, his brother's son, and all their substance, meaning all their goods that they had gathered, their household stuff, their books, papers, furnishings, etc., that they had gathered, and the souls that they had gathered in Haran. What does that mean? The souls that they had gathered, the people that they had enslaved, the people that sold their souls to them, so they gathered them up like the devil gathers souls. That one's kind of an interesting one. And the souls that they had gathered in Haran. So they were busy in Haran gathering souls. All right. What do you do when you gather a bunch of souls? It's going to be an interesting. And they went forth to go into the land of Canaan, and into the land of Canaan they came. They went into the land of Canaan and came into the land of Canaan. Twist that one whatever way you want. And Abraham passed through the land unto the place of Shechem, unto the plain of Moreh, and the Canaanite was then in the land. There were already Canaanites there when he showed up. And the Lord appeared unto Abraham and said, Unto thy seed will I give this land. And there builded he an altar unto the Lord, who appeared unto him. So the Lord came up and said, yeah, the Canaanites are here. You know what? I'm just going to give this land to you because fuck the Canaanites. Yeah, okay. Take that one whatever way you want. And he removed from thence. Okay, and the Lord appeared unto Abram and said, Unto thy seed will I give this land. And there builded he an altar unto the Lord, who appeared unto him. And he removed from thence unto a mountain on the east of Bethel, and pitched his tent, having Bethel on the west, and Hai on the east. And there he builded an altar unto the Lord, and called upon the name of the Lord. And Abraham journeyed, going on still toward the south. And there was a famine in the land, and Abraham went down into Egypt to sojourn there, for the famine was grievous in the land. And it came to pass, when he was come near to enter into Egypt, that he said unto Sarai his wife, Behold now, I know that thou art a fair woman to look upon. Okay, got a pretty wife. Therefore it shall come to pass, when the Egyptians shall see thee, that they shall say, This is his wife, and they will kill me, but they will save thee alive. All right, so he's a little paranoid here. I've got this hot woman here. I'm coming into Egypt. The Egypts are going to want my wife. They're going to kill me so they can take my wife. That's him, being a little paranoid. Maybe he's not overly paranoid, but you never know. Continues on, chapter 12 here. Therefore it shall come to pass, when the Egyptians shall see thee, that they shall say, This is his wife, and they will kill me, but they will save thee alive. Say, I pray thee, thou art my sister. Say, I pray thee, thou art my sister, that it may be well with me for thy sake, and my soul shall live because of thee. All right, so he's really fearful of his wife, so he's saying, hey, we show up, we see the Egyptians, you're not my wife, you're my sister, okay? Tell him you're my sister. And it came to pass that when Abraham was come into Egypt, the Egyptians beheld the woman, that she was very fair. The princes of the Pharaoh saw her, and commended her before Pharaoh. And the woman was taken into Pharaoh's house. And he entreated Abraham well for her sake. And he had sheep and oxen, and he asses, and manservants, and maidservants, and she asses, and camels. And the Lord plagued Pharaoh, because his house was great. His house. And the Lord plagued Pharaoh and his house with great plagues, because of Sarai, Abraham's wife. All right, this is a little bit underhanded and backstabby, but so the Pharaoh, Abraham says, yeah, this is my sister. Pharaoh goes, cool, dude. I'm taking her into my house. I'm going to have some fun with her. No, he didn't know he was doing wrong. And the Pharaoh called Abraham and said, What is this that thou hast done unto me? Why didst thou not tell me that she was thy wife? Well, how did the Pharaoh figure out she was his wife? Oh, because he suddenly got plagues. Like, what the hell? He's like, to Abraham, why didn't you tell me she's my wife? Why saidst thou, she is my sister, so I might have taken her to me to wife? Now, therefore, behold thy wife. Take her and go thy way. All right, so let's translate this to English if we can. Why did you say she is my sister? So I might have taken her to my wife, or in that period of time, so I can take her to bed and bang her really good. Now, therefore, behold, she's thy wife. What the hell? Why didn't thou tell me that she was thy wife? Here. Therefore, behold, your wife, take her, get her out of here, and go thy way, get out of my area. And Pharaoh commanded his men concerning him, and they sent him away, and his wife, and all that he had. So they kicked his ass out of Egypt. Like, Abraham, get your wife, get the hell out of here, go. And Abraham went up and out of Egypt, he and his wife, and all that he had, and Lot with him unto the south. And Abraham was very rich in cattle, in silver, and in gold. And he went on his journeys from the south, even to Bethel, unto the place where his tent had been at the beginning between Bethel and Hai, unto the place of the altar. So he went down south, fucks with the, and went back, or went north. Directions are confused. He went into Egypt, fucks with the Egyptians, back out of Egypt. Unto the place of the altar which he had made there at first, and there Abraham called on the name of the Lord. And Lot also went with Abraham, had flocks and herds and tents, and the land was not able to bear them, that they might dwell together. For their substance was great, so that they could not dwell together. You guys had way too much stuff together. They couldn't even live. All right. And there was the strife between the herdmen of Abraham's cattle, and the herdmen of Lot's cattle, and the Canaanite, and the Perizzite, dwelled then in the land. So we had 4 peoples here, 4 tribes. Yeah, they're a little crowded. And Abraham said unto Lot, let there be no strife, I pray thee, between me and thee, and between my herdmen and thy herdmen, for we are brethren. We're brothers, man. You know, I'm your uncle here. I'm your uncle here, dude. Let's be cool. It is not the whole land before thee. Separate thyself, I pray thee, from me. If thou wilt take the left hand, then I will go to the right. Or if thou depart to the right, then I will go to the left. And Lot lifted up his eyes and beheld all the plain of Jordan, and there that it was well watered everywhere, before the Lord destroyed Sodom and Gomorrah, even as the garden of the Lord, like the land of Egypt, as thou comest unto Zoar. Then Lot chose him all the plain of Jordan, and Lot journeyed east, and they separated themselves from one to the other. So you hear the thing about the Middle East and Jordan. So Jordan, that's where Lot went originally. He went with his families to Jordan. Abraham dwelt in the land of Canaan, and Lot dwelled in the cities of the plain, and pitched his tent towards Sodom. But the men of Sodom were wicked and sinners before the Lord exceedingly. All right, so we hadn't even got to we had some foreshadowing here just a little bit back. A little bit of foreshadowing. So, you know, maybe the writers are getting a little bit better as they go through this book. It's kind of like me and my podcast. You know, there's a bits and pieces here and there. You know, they're good and bad, and it's kind of an interesting bit. You know, they get better over time, so shall see. All right, let's come back here. So the foreshadowing, that's what we're talking about, where Lot was going to be near Sodom. Not that whole is part. There it is. In chapter 13, verse 10, Lot lifted up his eyes, and that was well watered, where before the Lord It's Sodom and Gomorrah. But it hasn't even talked about the destruction of Sodom and Gomorrah yet. So, here we are. But the men of Sodom were wicked and sinners before the Lord exceedingly. And the Lord said unto Abraham, after that Lot was separated from him, and the Lord said unto Abraham, after that Lot was separated from him, and lift up thine eyes, and look from the place where thou art northward, and southward, and eastward, and westward. Look all around you, for all the land which thou seest, to thee will I give it. He's given him even more land. Gave him one set in the Canaanites, so now he's in another set. God giving him more and more lands. Which one is it? For all the land which thou seest, to thee will I give, and to thy seed forever. And I will make thy seed as the dust of the earth, so that if a man can number the dust of the earth, then shall thy seed also be numbered. Arise, walk through the land in the length of it, and in the breadth of it, for I will give it unto thee. Then Abraham removed his tent and came and dwelt in the plain of Mamre, which is the Hebron, and built there an altar for the Lord. So basically, he was having a shit fuck of a time in Canaanite, and now we moved him into a new area. So, area here, we're going to go chapter 14, and this will probably be the last one for today. Chapter 14 in Genesis. And it came to pass in the days of Amraphel, king of Shinar, Arioch, king of Elasar, Chedorlaomer, king of Elam, and Tidal, king of nations, that these made war with Bera, king of Sodom, and with Birsha, wow, the names are tough sometimes. Birsha, king of Gomorrah. Birsha, king of Gomorrah. Shilnob, king of Admah, and Shemabir, king of Zeborim, and king of Bela, which is Zoar. So we got basically a small world war here. We got Sodom, Gomorrah, Admah, and Zeborim, Bela. They're all the kings. This is a four-way war of 4 kingdoms. All these were joined together in the Vale of Siddim, which is the Salt Sea. 12 years they served Chedorlaomer, and in the 13th year they rebelled. And in the 14th year, named Chedorlaomer and the kings that were with him. Oh, and in the 14th year, Chedorlaomer and the kings that were with him, and smote the Repaims, and Ashtaroth, Carnorim, and the Zuzims in and the Emims in Shabeth, Kirathim, and the Horites in their mount, Siri unto El Paran, which is by the wilderness. And they returned and came to Enmishpalt, which is Kadesh, and smote all the country of the Kadesh. Oh, Klingon. There you go. She is my Kadesh. Kadesh. Amazing where you find words. Some origins of the word. Digging deep in the Bible and you compare it to names and other things they use in movies and books throughout time. So much of it comes from this book. She is my Kadesh, which is Kadesh, and smote all the country of the Amalekites, and also the Amorites that dwell in Haznorithmatmah. And there went out the king of Sodom, and the king of Gomorrah, and the king of Admah, and the king of Zeborim, and the king of Bela. Oh, so we had 5 kings here. The same Zoar. And they joined battle, and them in the vale of Siddim, with Chedorlaomer, the king of Elam, and the title king of nations, and Amraphel, king of Shinar, and Arok, king of Elishar, 4 kings with 5. And the vale of Siddim was full of slime pits, and the kings of Sodom and Gomorrah fled and fell there. And they that remained fled into the mountain. And they took all the goods of Sodom and Gomorrah, and all their victuals, and went their way. Victuals. What the hell is a victual? All right, we're gonna go look that one up, just because every once in a while we want to have a definition. See a really interesting victual sounds familiar. Victuals, food or provisions, typically prepared for consumption. Okay, so this is what they went with all their food, right? And went their way, and they took Lot. So they stole Lot when they bailed from there. Abraham's brother. So this is how Lot ended up in Sodom and Gomorrah. And they took Lot, Abraham's brother's son, who dwelt in Sodom, and his goods, and departed. And there came one that had escaped, and told Abraham, Hebrew, for he dwelt in the plain of Mamre, the Amorite, brother of Eshcol, and brother of Aner, that these were federate with Abraham. And when Abraham heard that his brother was taken captive, it wasn't his brother, his brother's son. Brother was taken captive. I guess it could be, that wasn't his brother. It was his brother's son. Unless I've lost track, which I could have. All right, so was taken captive. He armed his trained servants, born in his own house, 318, and pursued them unto Dan. Dan is capitalized. Must be a place. And he divided himself against them, he and his servants, by night, and smote them, and pursued them unto Hubah, which is on the left hand of Damascus. And he brought back all the goods, and he also brought again his brother Lot, and his goods, and the women also, and the people. And the king of Sodom went out to meet him after his return from the slaughter of Chedorlaomer, and of the kings that were with him, at the valley of Shabah, which is the king's dale. And Melchizedek, king of Salem. Now this is a new one, kind of new. Now Melchizedek is someone to keep in mind, because I'm actually going to touch on from my random readings, I'm going to tap into my Book of Mormon Bible. And Melchizedek is a priest. And Melchizedek, something that comes much later. King of Salem brought forth bread and wine, and he was the priest of the Most High God. Oh, it tells you right here. And Melchizedek, king of Salem, brought forth bread and wine, and he was the priest of the Most High God. So Melchizedek was not only a king, but he was a priest. So he was a king and priest. Melchizedek was a king and priest of the Most High God. And he blessed him and said, Blessed be Abraham of the Most High God, possessor of heaven and earth. And blessed be the Most High God, which hath delivered thine enemies into thy hand. And he gave him tithes of all. And the king of Sodom the king of Sodom said unto Abraham, Give me the persons, and take the goods to thyself. And Abram said to the king of Sodom, I have lifted up mine hand unto the Lord, the Most High God, the possessor of heaven and earth, that I will not take from a thread even to the shoe latchet, and that I will not take anything that is thine, lest thou shouldest say, I have made Abraham rich, save only that which the young men have eaten, and the portion of the men which went with me, Aner, Eshcol, and Mamir, let them take their portion. All right, this is kind of interesting. We got to tease this one apart before we call it quits for the day. Okay, so, and the king of Sodom said unto Abram, Give me the persons. So the king of Sodom said, Hey, give me my people. Give me the people. You take the goods and go to thyself. And Abram said unto the king of Sodom, I have lifted up mine hand unto the Lord, the Most High God, possessor of heaven and earth. So I lift up my hand and said prayers to God. And said to him that I will not take from a thread even to a shoe latchet or shoelace. My translation. So I won't take anything, okay, that is thine. So I won't take anything that belongs to you, lest thou shouldest say I can take it. All right, so you just told me you take the people, I can take all the goods. Hey, I like that. Unless thou shouldest say, I have made Abraham rich. So unless you say I've made Abraham rich, I'm not going to take it. Say it. Come on, kick it up. Ah, you made Abraham rich. All right, I'll be nice. Anyway. And then it says, save only that which the young man have eaten. So I won't take anything except what the young man have eaten, and the portion of the men which went with me, Aner, Eshcol, and Miramir. Let them take their portion. So I won't take anything, but I'm going to let all my boys here take some stuff. Goods they can eat, drink, and be merry. All right. We're going to leave it at that. We'll pick it up at chapter 15 next. We managed to get a full 48 minutes here. This takes a while. We went from chapter 11 to 15. We're doing about 2 chapters. But you must admit, when you read it this way, the Bible's kind of interesting and entertaining. I look forward to when there's lots of people here. See what we can do. Thank you for listening. This has been the Sunday morning service from the Rogues Tavern. We'll see you next Sunday or some other day during the week. Come join us. That's all we've got for you now. There.
Amen. Fist bump.
Allahu Akbar.